Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Whatever This Is, featuring me, Ben, and my friend Efrain.
Howdy.
We are going to be discussing The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5.
Penultimate episode.
Truth. And this episode, more than any other one for me, has been like the most like the pacing of this show is weird, and I don't know if I like it. Like
yeah, like we talked about earlier, only having 6 episodes doesn't particularly help that much.
Yeah. That's it. And again, I kind of want to wait until the whole show has finished to really like break down what steps didn't feel right. But just the fact that like this episode started with an action sequence, like in a fight scene, and an emotional one, like by the time the fight...
Introducing a familiar villain.
Yeah.
Made it fun.
And between watching John, Sam, and Bucky fight, and like that fight ending, like I felt exhausted at the end of it. It was definitely a thing of like, I really feel like this should have been in the last episode, but then last episode was already so big. What could you have done?
Ended on such a big cliffhanger.
And to be fair, it opens this episode by picking up immediately on where we left off, and then it sends you into the rest of the like quieter character-based stuff that the rest of this episode does. That, god dang it, if I don't feel like the rest of the show, or the previous 2 episodes of the show, needed this kind of character work.
Mm-hmm.
For me, personally. This felt like the most Sam-driven episode of the show so far, for a show that he's co-headlining.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I don't know if they're thinking whether or not, like, what else can we explore with Bucky? But I know how much the shield meant to both of them. So the beginning of the episode, started out pretty cool. I had a feeling it was gonna be this way because of John Walker's character. We were like, oh, should we sympathize with this guy because he's like going through a lot of shit, like Lamar just died and everything, and he's resting there in like a really Captain America-esque Civil War pose, when he's like hitting the ground and everything with the shield on him before Bucky and Sam like come up to him and everything. But then, like give Wyatt Russell a lot of credit. He goes back to the, you know what? That guy fucking deserved it, man.
Yeah.
Like, he killed Lamar. It's like, dude, he did not kill Lamar.
Wyatt Russell has done a fantastic job.
Yes, he fucking did. He fucking deserved it. And then you're like, damn, every time they want me to feel sympathy for this guy, he, kind of takes it back. It's like, no, man.
Well, there was, I don't remember which MCU film we were going to, but there was one MCU film that it was you, me, I know Lacey was there, I want to say our friend Brett was there. We were at City Walk for it, and there was like lines out of the theater for this movie. I want to say it was like, it may have been the first Avengers movie? I don't remember, but
there was a lot of lines.
I think Jason and Alexis may have been there too, and somebody had commented like, who knew this many people liked these characters in comic books? Like, you tend to think of comic books as this really niche, geeky thing that no one enjoys, but then when dozens of people line up to watch the movie, why?
Maybe it was Civil War.
It may have been, and I had thrown out the idea that superhero movies didn't really take off until after the attacks of 9/11, and I feel like from a storytelling...
Spider-Man was the first movie to come out after that, actually.
And I feel like Americans, the movie-going audience, wanted a simple black and white narrative. Like, we looked at the war in the Middle East, and it wasn't complicated. We didn't have a clear enemy. We couldn't fight them in a very good way. We had bad technology. People were just dying all left and right. We didn't adapt to the war terribly quickly. But superheroes are a real clear case of, like, that guy's evil, that guy's good, punch him in the face till it's over with. And it's really cool to me that we've reached this point in Phase 4 of Marvel. Scarlet Witch comes out of WandaVision as a good guy and a bad guy, where you can sympathize with her and condemn her methods. She did do terrible things, but you understand why she did terrible things. John Walker has become a character of the same type of conflicted moral code of he did exactly what he thought was right, exactly, and he even points this out during his court session.
His little court martial thing.
I have only ever done exactly what you asked me to do.
You built me, and
now you condemn me for it. That's in that scene. I was just like, he's a perfect soldier. He's a terrible person.
Yeah.
And it's
which is why, the original German doctor who gave Cap the serum, he didn't want, that particular bully type to be, the super soldier because of that fact.
Yeah.
And a lot of people go out and ever since the whole John Walker thing, they point out, the doctor saying, not just a perfect soldier, but a good man.
But a good man.
But a good man. He points at his heart.
Yeah.
Even when he dies.
Yeah.
Points at his heart, because that's the main focus of the serum, taking the serum. Like he explained to Steve in the original Captain America movie, good becomes great, bad becomes worse. So
it's very telling to me that everybody in this show takes the serum and thinks that they're Captain America. And again, I brought this up last week.
Or feels that whatever they're doing, they believe is the right thing to do.
And
just like Cap in Civil War.
And I feel like other than Steve Rogers, we're getting a lot more people who are closer to the Red Skull than we are Steve Rogers. In terms of where their character could arc to. And I mean, we get to see that a little bit with John in the end mid credits kind of scene.
Mid credits scene.
That's the only thing.
Where he builds his own shield that is definitely not vibranium.
Yeah,
so I don't know what he's gonna do.
There's definitely a little bit of like, okay, John, you made a in the field heated decision. I won't say that it was a great decision. You've been censured for it. You've been punished. Go and live the rest of your life peacefully. And he's deciding not to. And if there's one thing John Walker, in the comics anyways, isn't good at, it's making a plan. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he thinks he's going to accomplish with this garage band shield.
But hey, he's even after that court martial, he's got some sort of opportunity because my girl Julia Louis-Dreyfus showed up
as the Contessa.
Oh my god! I figured you would probably know what her character is.
Yeah, and it's a complicated character because she's another Nick Fury spy type character. Yeah. The Contessa classically is a SHIELD agent. I believe she went undercover in Hydra for a time.
I read that she becomes Madam Hydra.
Yeah, there's a brief period there where she allies with basically the Russian spy equivalent of SHIELD called Leviathan for a time. And she works with them for a little bit. The author Jonathan Hickman rebuilt SHIELD's history a little bit during the Secret Warriors comic. And it was as America had SHIELD developing superhumans, Russia had Leviathan developing superhumans. So which era are we drawing this Contessa from? I have no fucking clue. I did not expect to see this character ever in the movies. I
was just so happy to see Julia Louis-Dreyfus because, me being such a huge Seinfeld fan, of course, I was like, oh my gosh, she's in the MCU!
Yeah.
That's so great! And it's great seeing her, because when she started walking up, I'm like, who is this? I'm like, well, it's not Sharon Carter. I don't think so. And then, when it showed her, I'm like, what is she doing here? So I read this earlier. It actually turns out that we were supposed to have her introduction in Black Widow.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I read.
Oh, so yes. I'm immediately leaning a bit more towards Leviathan than anything else.
Yeah, so that's what I read earlier, is we were actually supposed to first meet her in the Black Widow movie and then get her in this, which to me makes sense because when we first meet her in this, she's walking up with, her heels. She was like, well, these heels definitely weren't made for walking, but it goes up and then it basically focuses on her. So I'm guessing if by now, if it wasn't for the pandemic, we would have watched Black Widow, then we would have been like, hey, she's from Black Widow.
Yeah, we would have gone, is this really war?
Yeah. So it would have given us a clear sense of why she gave John Walker the false card, while she basically recruited him we would have gotten more of a sense if we had already seen Black Widow.
Sure.
Then we would have been like, oh shit, like what's she into, and why does she want to recruit John Walker?
Yeah.
You know, so we get to see her again in Black Widow.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
And you and I had even said, like, are we going to see Black Widow plot lines that either didn't develop or couldn't develop because the movie hadn't come out? That's very cool that they're still working with that kind of synergy between the films and the shows. Even a film that hasn't been released.
Yeah, I know. Good God, over a fucking year.
But I loved her in the scene. She was at once
She was great.
She was insulting and charming at the same time.
That's Julia Louis-Dreyfus, man. That's her. That's a lot of the character. As much as I love her, and she's won a bunch of Emmys, those are the type of characters that she plays.
And that's,
you know?
It's a very Tony Stark kind of character, where you could hate this person, but you can't. You just can't. There's something fun about it that you're like, whoo!
Unbelievably charming.
Yeah. And I'm a fan of characters with blue hair. I'm an anime fan. It's just how it is. So I love the blue streaks.
Was it blue or purple?
To me, it was blue.
Okay, maybe it was blue.
I'm assuming it might be one of those like blue and black dress versus the white and gold dress. The way your brain operates, kind of things. I'm not gonna fight about it.
One tilt of the head, it looks like purple. Another tilt of the head, it looks like blue.
I was surprised because in the comics, Valentina classically has like a big like rogue-esque like white streak. So they just changed it to blue, probably because
that's actually pretty cool.
Who wants to go around with a big white streak?
Yeah.
Like, but that was super great.
Yeah, that was.
An
awesome appearance.
Is she a bad guy? Is she a good guy? I don't
know.
Is she a Nick Fury person in between?
If we had seen Black Widow. See, it's a bigger mystery now.
I'm more intrigued for Black Widow and her role in Black Widow.
Yeah.
Not knowing that she's going to be in it, being like, I don't know what she is. Like, I know who she is, but that tells me nothing. Like, again, Agent Sitwell was never a Hydra spy in the comics, and it's the thing he's famous for now because of the movies. So Contessa could be anything at this point.
Exactly.
Ooh, excuse me.
So I think it's interesting, like, what she trying to set up.
That's since we were on the topic of John and whether he's redeemable or not. Like, I still sympathize with him. Like, in the same way, there's been so much debate online about whether John Walker's redeemable or is he irredeemable and all kinds of stuff. It's been great. I love it. This is some of the stuff I love about comic books because you have characters like Hawkeye and Black Widow, who honestly were government-sanctioned assassins for their history, and they chose to become better people. John was a soldier who was okayed to kill people in the field if they were an enemy combatant. And when he became Captain America, he just figured same thing, no problem. John's a character who could be saved, and in the comics, typically he is. After he murdered the character he murdered in the comics, like, he was the guy who was like, I shouldn't be Captain America.
Yeah. And that's what I thought the route they were kind of going until he was like, I deserve to die. It's like, oh, well, yeah, he's not going to give up the shield so easily.
It broke my heart during that, when his confrontation with Sam and Bucky was going on. I was like, oh, he's not giving up the shield, is he? And then he like Sam does, like, give me the shield speech, and then he's like,
I see what this was about.
And then I'm like, oh, you're crazy. Oh no, you're paranoid. You'll never give it up now.
Captain America,
and they broke his arm.
Cool. To fucking for him, like, give me that shield, and they broke his arm. Yeah, I was like, oh.
I legitimately was on the couch and like just watching it. And I was just like, oh. It got me. Oh, like, God.
This is how far we'll go to get this fucking show back from you.
God, that again. I really wanted this to end with John realizing his mistake and then being like, I'm gonna do better in the future, and maybe we can get
thought that
a more redeemed hero.
Yeah, because in a way that's kind of how his character was in the comic about what happened, and then he became U.S. agent. But yeah, definitely taking a different turn here. Yeah,
we're definitely going with the classic MCU, I'm going to be your bad guy and I'm going to die at the end of the show kind of route. Yeah. Which, again, bums me out because I do think there's enough depth to John to continue playing with that. Well, but
Julia Louis-Dreyfus' character, oh God, she's got 4 names. Like,
yeah, that's why I just call her like Nick Fury would classically just call her Contessa or the Contessa.
Yeah,
because it's the Contessa something Valentina something.
You can call me Val, but don't
call me Val. Just call me in your head.
Call me Val in your head. Exactly. Yeah. She knew a lot of shit about him. a lot, like personal, like some stuff you don't see in the media or anything. Like
Yeah.
she basically had eyes on him the whole time. So yeah, it really does make you wonder where's she from, what she in cahoots with. Since she isn't Black Widow, like you said, that basically takes place in Russia.
Yeah.
She was a Russian sleeper spy that I read in the comic book.
Yep.
So yeah, man, I'm wondering what's going on with that.
Yeah, that's again.
What other group is she with?
Maybe she's Mephisto.
Maybe
The blue hair was a red herring because it's the color blue, and you don't expect Mephisto
Fire
with color
burns high
blue
enough.
because it's not red.
Blue fire burns higher than orange red fire.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the hair being blue, hey, you never know, man. Fire burns too hot. Shit.
I love how much that's become like a thing too.
Yeah.
Just people being like, "What's up with this?" And someone's like, "I don't know, Mephisto," and like it's the answer to everything now. And I kind of low key love it. So that was great. Again, we've got John's complete fall from grace. I didn't.
Man, they were like the courts, the senators were like, "Fuck you, you got caught."
Yeah.
Like you got caught.
There was
killing a dude in a foreign country.
When I was in charge of my
representing
team,
America, bro, you're out.
When I was in charge of my team at the company that I work for a couple of years ago, they don't like us to wear headphones. And typically, as long as you're doing your job, I don't care if you have a headphone in. And I would always tell my team, like...
One
headphone in, so that way you can still hear stuff and respond to people. And I would always tell my team, like, covert ops happen in the dark. If you're caught, I will disavow any knowledge of having said that you can wear an earbud, and I will throw you under the fucking bus. But so long as you don't get caught, I don't care if you have a headphone in. Mm-hmm. And it's, damn it, John, you had an earbud in and you got caught.
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
Disavow knowledge of you. I was very surprised that no one in the U.S. government seemed to realize he had the super soldier serum. I'm very confused as to what Sam and Bucky's relationship with the United States government is after this particular episode, because like they don't turn in the shield, no one questions them about it, no one gets like a situation report. Like you'd think Sam would be like, oh, and by the way, he took an illegal sample of the super soldier serum, he's super strong, you might want to like plan for that.
Yeah.
No one seemed to know, because even Contessa was like, I know you took a soldier serum, but I don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Even she was being coy about it.
How does she know that he took the serum? Like, shit.
We're definitely getting that like Nick Fury level of like spy. I know more about you than anybody thinks I should, kind of thing. So yeah, like the fuzzy details of this world have gotten even fuzzier to me. But yeah, I thought this was a really good Sam episode, which was great because he needed it. I loved
especially
him
personally.
Yeah, I loved him visiting Isaiah. Oh my god, I was on the edge of my seat, like that whole conversation.
Like it's just messed up. You know what happened to him. It really is.
Well, and you and I had talked about it a little bit earlier before the show when we were just hanging out. Sam tries to give him the shield because he looks at Isaiah and he sees someone who did do something heroic, even if the United States government won't admit it and can't admit it or anything along those lines.
He didn't even want to see the shield.
Yeah, and I love that because it does represent everything that's wronged Isaiah. Isaiah broke out of a medical facility to save his comrades, his allies, his friends, his squad. We've seen Captain America do that.
I was about to say that exactly. Captain America did almost that same thing, and he got cheered for it.
Yeah, he blew everything up in the Winter Soldier, and everyone loved him.
And everybody loved him, exactly. And Isaiah, unfortunately he got arrested for it and experimented on.
And the reasons, because they don't want that as the face of America, and he sees it and he gets it, and he hates America for it. And it's cool to me that Sam is a character who can look at Isaiah and go like, I see that, and I understand all of that, but we can't let that be it either.
Well, that's why he says Steve Rogers didn't put you in jail.
Yeah. Be angry at America.
Yeah.
Don't be angry at Captain America. He didn't do this to you.
Yeah, this whole time, that's what I find interesting is the whole conversation as we're watching this. Of course, everybody knows that like everything Isaiah has gone through, but not realizing also how close Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson were, you know, and him being just completely isolated from the entire world because literally he was technically dead. So who knows how much he's absorbed in like the last 10, 20 years. So, I mean, that goes with us saying earlier how their views of the world, of course, are different from where they've lived, the decades, the era of where they lived. As much as Sam understands where Isaiah is coming from, definitely. At the same time, like we said before, Sam knows it's more accepting these days to have a black Captain America than it was, back when Isaiah was living. And like you said, Isaiah probably thinks, man, you come out as a black Captain America, you're a damn fool. You think these people will accept it?
He straight up says it. Any black man who would want to be Captain America is a fool.
Is a fool. Yeah. And like it's almost like Sam took exception to that.
Well,
it's like, Captain America means something completely different to Isaiah Bradley, obviously. But because Sam is so drawn close to it, being Steve's best friend, it means something completely different to him. And that's one of the reasons why he would step up and be the next Captain America.
Well, and I had mentioned this before in our conversation that I don't feel like the string of episodes leading to this episode and Sam's decision to take up the shield do a good job of illustrating why he's taking up the shield.
Which is why I brought up that there should at least been at least 2 more episodes.
I just feel like we needed
in this series,
a tighter focus on Sam is really what I needed. And to the show writer's credit, I like that it took seeing the shield tarnished for Sam to realize what it meant to him. Because the first thing he does when he gets it from John is he starts to try and wipe the blood off of it. Like
he's got like a hug on the shield.
He's a little like shell shocked a bit. Like it shouldn't be this way. Yeah. And I think it's definitely because Sam knows that the world is a flawed place. He knows that America is a flawed place, but he also knows you can't stop fighting for it. We see that echoed in his conversation with Sarah when they're on the boat. And he's like, I know you thought I was running away. And she's like, I didn't think you were running away. You were fighting out there same way you fought here when you came here to do it. Like, that's what you do. You get back up and you fight. And he's like, yeah, kind of thing. It was really great to see him realize that the way to, like, fix their boat was community. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Because that, to me, is at the core of what I was taught makes America great, is people coming together to fix things.
Yeah.
To help each other. And so that was really cool. It was super cool to see Bucky show up, especially after Bucky just leaves him in Europe.
Yeah, exactly.
It was very cute.
Bucky kind of drops the shield.
Cute to see Bucky flirt with Sarah a little bit. I
thought that was actually pretty great.
And it's easy to forget that in the first Avenger, Bucky walked away from that date with 2 girls on his arms. Yeah. Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does.
And so it was very cool to see him kind of confident.
So he was like...
Sarah.
Well, that's what I thought was funny is, like, he... At first, before he officially introduced himself, he's, like, kind of, like, looked her up and down. He's like, I'm Bucky.
Yeah.
And then, like, her reaction was like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm Sarah. Yeah. He's like, Sarah.
I was laughing out
loud. Yeah, me too. I was like...
that moment. Oh, it was so good.
That's it. So it wasn't just him, She was like, oh.
Well, and I loved even Sam being like, don't flirt
with my sister. Like, even Bucky was like...
That was dope. Oh, I love it.
Bucky's like, all right.
Well, and it was really, again...
I thought that was really cool.
Sam and Bucky's relationship throughout this whole series has been really rocky, like... And they kind of sum it up really good at the end of, like, we're not friends, we're maybe co-workers, like, we're friends of a dude. There's my dad calling, just like I thought he would. I was saying that Bucky and Sam's relationships... Why do I have this in my ear still? Has been really rough in this show so far, and... They say towards the end of this episode that, like, we were friends of a dude, and that dude is gone, so now we're just two dudes who don't have a friend kind of thing. And I was really waiting for that, like, now we're friends moment. Like, I wanted the shonen anime, like,
I thought that was really cool.
We're pals now. And it was really cool to see Bucky come support Sam when Sam needed it. I thought that was amazing. But a lot of Bucky's story got hand-waved in this episode. And it's the downside of having both of them be lead characters. And then Zemo basically started in episode 3. And then John's been a big character in episodes 4 and 5. So, like, for literally Sam to just, like, look at Bucky and be like, here's your emotional problem. Here's my solution. Go fix it. And for him to just be like, all right, I will.
That's good advice.
Like, it's just... Man, somebody needed to wrap this show up in an episode, and we sure did it.
I mean, they got their handshake out of it. I mean, I thought it was really cool, and we talked about earlier how, Bucky was kind of giving a hint to Sam kind of to stay them out of his place, which I did like the, I guess, camaraderie when they were fixing the boat and stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool, and, how important Bucky knew the boat was to the family and everything. But... it was when Bucky was sleeping and then he woke up and then he saw Sam's nephews playing with the shield and stuff like that, which was really cool. And, he got the, hey, and they kind of ran away and, Bucky had this smile on his face.
And I think they were scared they did something wrong.
Yeah.
And I think Bucky just more wanted to, like, probably talk to them. Like, that's not a toy, just be careful kind of thing. Like, for sure.
But, I thought he probably thought that, but at the same time, he had this smile because, seeing kids kind of playing with the shield and then...
Look up to Cap.
Yeah, exactly.
Look up to
Cap.
legend.
Not seeing basically what, I mean, the circumstance of, like, what Isaiah Bradley went through as opposed to, like, kids these days, him looking at Cap as a white man, white boy, and then seeing Sam's nephews looking at the shield and playing with the shield the way they are, as they're not seeing Captain America as a white man.
They're
or
just
a white
seeing
boy.
Captain America as a hero.
As a hero, exactly.
Yes.
As a symbol, like, that's why later on it's so cool, like, after that awesome, like, montage where Sam is training with the shield and we get that dope Winter Soldier music, which is awesome. His nephew is, like, kind of with the finger outlining the star on the shield, which is a very nice touch, and Sam is looking at him like it's like a really cool, proud moment of, like, sort of like the contradicting these days of what Isaiah believes because of what happened to him back then, as opposed to, like, now what Sam believes, and knowing that, yes, there are people out there who will, have something against there being a black Captain America, but there's so much more support these days about having a black Captain America, and knowing that even people close to him, like his family, like his nephews, like, look up to him in that way, and knowing that he's carrying on, like, a legacy of one of his best friends.
And a legacy of heroism.
Exactly.
Not of whiteness, not of America even, but of doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Of being willing to risk your life in order to make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
I had mentioned to you, again, when we talked about this a little bit before, like, Sam was looking to Isaiah to do it, but Isaiah was too buried in the past. Because he couldn't move on to the future. It was I'm dead. I don't have a future anymore. He wanted Isaiah to be that hero. He didn't want to necessarily have to take up that mantle. And it really, to me, wasn't until that moment that we really saw that, like, no, this matters to the next generation almost more than it matters to Sam.
Yeah.
Like, if a black man isn't willing to step up and be Captain America, it will only ever be a white guy. And it will never help. And the symbolism there will be lost completely.
Exactly. It also just proves to what, like we said, what Steve stood for. He didn't see, like, as opposed to Isaiah, like, he didn't see Captain America as, any type of, like, skin color or anything whatsoever, Like, this is the reason why he saw Sam, he chose Sam.
Yeah.
Sam didn't step up. Sam didn't want to step up. He chose Sam because Captain America spent so much time with him that like he knew passing the torch on to him would be the right call.
He knew it was
not
more important to pick a good man.
Exactly, to pick a good. That's why he said it to him. He's like, "You're a good man, Sam."
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, when Sam was like, when Steve goes, "How does it feel?" and Sam was like, "To the shield, like like it belongs to someone else," and he says, "It isn't." He's just proven to that like the shield.
I'm done with this.
Exactly.
This isn't mine anymore.
It's not mine anymore, and it's to carry on a legacy. That's why the shield was probably the most important entity in this entire series, because it's what Cap stood for. It's his legacy. It's like what Bucky said. He was hurt because it was with Steve gone. It was the closest thing he had to family. And for Sam, in his eyes, to just give it away like that, it hurt a part of him, and he felt like the part of him, kind of went away, and he was alone. And that's basically when Sam said to Bucky, "Hey, Steve's gone."
Yeah.
Like, we love Steve, but he's gone. Now we got to live our own legacy. And that's when we basically gave Bucky we give you some advice, man. Let me lay it down for you.
And I like Sam doing that with Bucky. Again, I would probably have to watch the whole thing again once it's finished to get a better sense of like their arc. But again, I don't feel like they had an arc at all. Like, I never felt like there was a moment of Bucky didn't believe in Sam. Like, from episode 2 on, Bucky has spent this whole show trying to give that shield back to Sam Wilson. And even after the fight with John Walker, Bucky's the first one who picks it up. He's the first one who slips it on his arm, and he drops it next to Sam and leaves. This isn't mine. This was yours.
Steve gave it to you.
And I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the conclusion Bucky reached in episode 5 is any different than the way he's been this whole show, which to me indicates a lack of character growth, and it's frustrating, especially given that Sam's character, I don't feel like, grew a whole lot, and I don't feel like he was presented with an opportunity to grow as much.
Yeah. See, we definitely needed more, when we found out it was only 6 episodes, we weren't sure whether or not that it was...
Focus on Sam. I feel like it's what we needed.
Yeah, focus more. And like I said, man, that's why if we, got at least 2 more episodes in this series, WandaVision was 9. So, after that ended, like, overall, like, we were, basically satisfied with the conclusion of that series,
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part, yeah, exactly. With this one...
The only thing I didn't get was my big superhero fight.
Yeah.
That was the one thing that I wanted with Ralph Boner and Monica... fighting something.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Didn't get that.
Darn it.
But that's fine.
Yeah. But, overall, like, just the story they want to tell in this, it feels like it has to extend now because, towards the end now
But it will extend into other MCU projects in the same way Wanda and Vision and Monica's story will.
Possibly.
Hopefully.
But, hopefully it won't be so open-ended. I mean, we're reintroduced by Batroc.
It does look like we're going to get to see Sam in the suit in episode 6, at least.
A vibranium suit. Ooh, yeah.
On the one hand, I was really upset that, like, they opened the case but didn't show the suit. Yeah. But then I was like, save it. Save it for the 6th.
Exactly.
Save it for the climax. It's going to be great.
Save it.
He's going to show up and he's going to have the suit and the shield and it's going to be amazing. Oh, I'm going to love it. Oh. But yeah, you were about to go off on a different plot line with Batroc.
No, it's all good.
I won't lie, Efrain, I'm a little conflicted as to Batroc showing up again.
I had a feeling he was, otherwise they,
See, I
thing,
thought they were going to Winter Soldier him.
Well, what I was gonna say earlier is I knew Batroc was gonna show up because earlier I heard him on the phone with Sharon Carter.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if, because a lot of people are theorizing that she's the power broker, and now she's making these moves. Now, I guess Intel, she set up Batroc with, Carly, and now he brought her weapons and shit. So, Sharon Carter set that up?
See, watching the scene, that was my first thought was like, oh, well, Sharon's definitely not the power broker then because she wants Carly dead. Like, why would she send backup for a person who stole her supply and then she straight up said, you stole my stuff. I'm gonna kill you, like hands down. So on the one hand, I would argue that Sharon's not the power broker by these actions. However, this is a semi-black opsy kind of show. This could be Sharon is sending in Batroc in order to help the Flag Smashers, and then maybe he'll sabotage them, or maybe he'll just make things into such a mess that the Flag Smashers get arrested, and then Sharon may be able to power broker her way into getting access to them again. Again, she would need a new super scientist in order to recreate the super soldier serum. But if you have the Flag Smashers, in theory, you could recreate Nagel's serum from it. Again, I don't think that makes sense, given that Sharon led these guys to Nagel. Why would you expose your operation and then make it the most difficult way to get access to these things again?
Interesting, they showed that. I think it was a Rembrandt, the painting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's more symbolism to that I'm not aware of, because I'm not familiar with the painting. It could have just been a cool set piece. But that's another thing where I'm like, well, it's cool to see Sharon still, like, pulling power moves behind the scene, but, like, is this a plot line we're going to get somewhere else?
Yeah,
does this end?
Exactly. See, that's the thing. Like, all these introductions of different types of things, like, now you have one more episode left? Like, how many of these things are we going to get a conclusion of? 1, 2 out of the how many different types of story threads that we're being introduced to?
And that's because we're going to go, I'm assuming, we're going to go into the GRC building, which is probably going to be held hostage by the Flag Smashers plus Batroc.
Which, it seems like now we're finally getting a physical glimpse of the GRC after all this time. One more episode left.
Episode left.
Yeah. I guess Zemo got taken away by the Dora Milaje.
I was going to say, we're going to have Sam show up as hopefully Captain America, making his big debut.
In vibranium gear.
We'll most likely see Bucky backing him up, because Bucky straight up said, like, you get a lead on Carly, give me a call, I'm there. And we're probably going to have John show up being like, I'm Captain America, I will defend GRC. So, like, we've got these 3 plus Batroc plus I think it was 5 surviving Flag Smashers in a whatever the crap this is. Like, this is, again, much like with WandaVision, I'm like, I feel like we have a lot of things that are about to collide, and I don't know that you can wrap all of that up in a ball that
with John's forged into fire shield.
Yeah.
Like
that's when he was watching, I was like, dude, you're not Tony Stark. Like, you can't tell me.
Yeah, I'm looking at him like
a super soldier's gonna punch that, and it's gonna bend inward.
The first thing I thought was like, oh, it's definitely not vibranium.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what he thinks he's gonna do with that.
It was like, if him being like, no, I am Captain America, at the beginning of the episode didn't make me think he was crazy.
Yeah.
This ending makes me think he's crazy. And even then I was like, oh, is he gonna, maybe he's making like the black and red shield, which is what the US agent
that's what I thought.
uses.
You know?
But no, it sure looks like it's red and white and blue.
Yeah.
Makes me a little sad.
I know.
But yeah, this is a lot of stuff to try and wrap up. And then, like you said, we did seemingly end Zemo's plotline.
Which I did think they would at least show him one more time after the last episode.
Yeah, but I'm glad that he's not a free agent. I am disappointed that we won't get to see him, in theory, continue somewhere else. Unless he's going to go be a problem in Black Panther 2, or the world of Wakanda, which I'd be fine with.
Well, they said they were taking him to the raft, so...
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm wondering how that's going to go myself.
Yeah.
I guess, Becky... I guess Bucky, in that type of symbolism where he aimed the gun at him and, like, kind of cocked it and dropped the bullets, I guess he basically told him, you know, I could kill you if I wanted to, but I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah.
So I just figured this was a more logical reason, and, you know, he was taken away by the Dora Milaje. Which I thought was cool because, you know, he in turn did owe them a lot. You know, he really did.
Well, that bothered me because from the outset, Bucky never claimed he was going to kill him. Like, there was, like, You know, there were the, like, in the field, like, you behave or we'll kill you kind of things, but, like...
Yeah, that's why I knew he wasn't, even with the gun pointed right at his face, I knew he wasn't going to kill him.
Well, and that's the thing for me, from a storytelling standpoint...
Because it's Bucky. That's the last thing he would want.
Yeah, that scene...
As opposed to him being the Winter Soldier.
That scene to me was a empty gun clip. Like, there was no weight to it for me in that sense, because I knew Bucky wasn't going to kill him. Why would Bucky kill him?
Yeah.
I liked him turning him over to the Dora Milaje and them accepting him back as the White Wolf. I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
I did like it from Zemo's perspective, because Zemo wanted to die. Just like he wanted to die at the end of Civil War, and he was denied it. If anything, I think that scene's meant to represent that, like, Bucky understands that Zemo wants to die, and he's not going to let it happen so long as he's in control. But like I said, that part frustrated me. I was also really thrown off because, like, that background looked green screen AF.
It really did, didn't it?
And there was a couple shots
it
of, like,
really did.
Like the really pulled out wide shots where I was like, oh, you went heavy on that lens flare from the sun because you had to cover up your poor CGI. Like,
it really did, especially when the camera was aiming towards Zemo.
Yeah. You
can see that background was definitely, like, green screen.
And it's amazing to me that, like, all of the special effects we have these days and all the, like, seamless CGI integration you can do, and I can still go, oh, that's some poor green screen.
Considering Industrial Light and Magic is doing the special effects.
Yeah, and the rest of the episode looks solid. Like,
yeah, it does.
I loved one of the little character moments that I loved was when they were fixing up the boat, and Bucky goes to, like, turn the wrench using his right hand, and then Sam's like, why don't you just use your left?
Yeah.
And then he's like,
why don't you just use a metal arm?
I'm right-handed. And I was like, of course.
He's like I didn't even think about using this. Yeah.
I thought that was such a cool character moment. Like, it's one of those things where, like, why didn't something like that happen earlier in the episode to show Bucky's reliance on, like, using his right hand or something like that?
Yeah.
And then through the course of the show, he could have become more comfortable using his left hand to do things. Indicating some level of character growth, or, like, he took Sam's advice and so he's willing to grow from it. Again, why is this happening in episode 5 as opposed to episode 2 or 3 or 4?
3 or 4, exactly.
So like I said, I have very conflicting feelings on this episode overall.
John Walker visiting Lamar's parents.
Yeah, and him being... And on the one hand, I liked him lying to them by saying, I killed Lamar's killer. And I like him... because it self-justifies now. Oh, well, I didn't. I have to be Captain America because I have to kill Carly because she killed Lamar.
Yeah.
I'm not done yet, and I won't be a liar to these people. There's a circular, broken logic there.
Like, they don't need to know this particular part.
Yeah.
You know, just as long as they're satisfied in what they're hearing.
Yeah.
You know, which the guy I killed is, you know, I took care of Lamar's killer, basically.
Yeah.
As opposed to now him getting his own personal and private revenge against Carly. And also knowing that Sam and Bucky are going to be there as well. You know, that's why he's making his own fucking shield, bro.
Well, I don't think he knows that Sam and Bucky are going to be there. I think he's
got a feeling.
I think he just wants to be Captain America. He won't let this go. I think he thinks he's going to show up and be like, I'll be the hero. And
well, no,
I'm
definitely sure. He's going to be thinking that, but at the same time, like, he knows Bucky and Sam are going to be there.
See, I don't think so.
You know?
Because then the trade-off too is
why wouldn't he then? If like she's the main ploy of what they're going to do, why wouldn't he believe that Sam and Bucky would be there?
For me, the biggest thing would be because they've been removed from it by the military. Like, Sam even tells Sarah, this isn't our thing anymore. Like, we're off this. I was honestly expecting, like, either Bucky or Sam... I'm expecting their arrival there to be an act of vigilantism and not government-sponsored superheroics. He's going...
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's why he opens the suit.
Yes.
You know, he opens the suitcase.
But... I honestly don't think in the headspace that he's at that John gives a single shit about Sam Wilson or Bucky Barnes. The only thing...
No, the only thing on his mind is definitely revenge against Carly.
And I don't think he's thinking tactically, otherwise he would know that this shield is not going to hold up to a super soldier. He's going in there going, I need to be Captain America because I'm not anything else anymore.
I know he's not going to care that, like nothing's going to stand this way.
Yeah. I don't think there's a plan in his head.
No, there's absolutely not a plan. But considering that he, fought Sam and Bucky, like he has one agenda on his mind, is to fucking kill Carly. But at the same time, I feel that like he doesn't believe that the the whole confliction between him, Sam, and Bucky is over.
Oh, I think the second he sees them, that rage is going to redirect and refocus.
Yeah.
Fanatically. But I don't think he's going in there with the plan of I need to kill Sam Wilson.
No, absolutely not. But I don't think he's dismissed the fact that they will be there.
So again, I think he's dismissed the fact. Because he doesn't know that the GRC thing's happening. He's just preparing to be Captain America some more.
Well, he definitely knows something is happening.
He doesn't know anything to the best of our knowledge. We have no reason to assume that he knows what the Flag Smashers are up to.
He still knows Carly's out there somewhere.
Sure.
And she has an agenda.
Sure, and he's also been the least informed person as to her moves this entire show.
Which he's getting pissed about.
And so the only way he's going to know about this is if someone from the GRC contacts him, or he, good old classic comic book style, he sees it on the news and rushes over to the building, because I'm going to be Captain America, and I'm going to save the day.
There's also a possibility that Val could contact him somehow. She seems to know a hell of a lot.
Val?
So... I don't think her name was Val, right? Julia Louis-Dreyfus?
Oh, the Contessa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and she could, but again, she hasn't shown herself throughout this entire process. She doesn't seem to have any interest in the Flag Smashers. So again, for me...
She still knows what's going on.
Guessing at her motivations to me is like guessing Mephisto's motivations. Like we don't know enough.
I'm not trying to guess at her motivations. I'm just assuming that like whatever interest she has in John Walker, I don't know if like she's gonna kind of lead him on, which is assuming what the phone call is gonna be that she's gonna make to him. But like, I don't know. Somehow like, I know he wants to go out and be Captain America, but. There's some sort of ploy as to like how he's going to prove himself to be that way, and I don't know how he's going to find Carly, but he's going to find her somehow.
See,
not to not feel that he believes Sam and Bucky aren't going to be there. I don't know. I know he's not thinking straight, but at the same time, like he's definitely having an agenda, and I don't feel like the agenda is just going to be straight on.
No.
Him killing Carly.
That to me has been all John Walker's thing in this show has been, I have one agenda, and that's the only thing that I'm going to do. And it's the most simple brute force agenda that I can find, and I'm going to keep on brute forcing it.
Oh, definitely.
But the Contessa to me is his way out.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
When this ends with him getting his ass beat by Sam Wilson... probably in front of the GRC, potentially in front of cameras or the internet, Val's going to be the person who shows up at his prison cell and goes like...
Sam standing above him with the shield.
Yeah.
While his shield is broken in half.
And she's going to be the one going, I can get you out of this, or I could have gotten you out of this and then you just blew it kind of thing. I don't think she's going to send him in because, I don't think he's terribly effectual, to be quite honest. But yeah, that's, what was I going to say? Oh, in lieu of John getting to the GRC building in time to do anything, I had the same thought regarding Sam, because he's watching the GRC situation unfold on TV in Louisiana.
Wakanda technology, baby.
And I was like, how are you going to get from Louisiana to New York in a time frame to do a thing?
Them wings, man, there's no telling.
And there's
no telling.
Comic book magic.
No telling how fast those wings can fly, man.
He can fly from state to state in 20 minutes. Easy. No problem.
I mean, he's learned a lot. He's
puts the suit on and he activates like the jets, and the jets just like shoot off of his back without him. They're like they're in New York City, and he's like, damn it, too powerful.
Shit. The hell, and shows him on the bus.
I did. Of course, I had to notice because they made a thing of it. Torres got to keep the Falcon wings.
Oh, yeah.
And in the comic books, Joaquin Torres does become the Falcon when Sam becomes Captain America. I still don't think we're going to follow up on that. Like,
Possibly not. I don't.
Torres as Falcon was such a like who gives a crap character.
Well,
but...
and I think that's what we're leaning towards as well. Like, oh, this guy's gonna be.
Yeah.
And he kept the wings, okay.
And I don't think I've
That's
ever
cool.
been less interested in a superhero being created.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
that's the thing. Like,
sure,
we got
Torres.
these characters to think about. Like, this guy Torres, he can be Falcon. Would he?
Yeah.
You know, in a different story that's off screen that we more than likely could care less about. Like,
that's where we do
Sam
a comic
could be
book
like,
tie-in
oh,
that no one buys.
Torres was Falcon. He stopped the fucking crime at a like fucking, Shell station.
Yeah.
As Falcon.
I don't
know.
I don't know if you noticed, but when Torres called Sam at the end about the GRC thing, about being like, oh, we got all these pings in Europe and we just got a ping in New York, Sam goes, good job, Bucky. Blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, this motherfucker just called him Bucky?
Did he call him Bucky?
Did
he?
Unless I edited that into my head. I was like, wow, someone thinks he's Captain America already, don't we? Like, wow. Way to go, Sam.
I don't know if I caught that.
I'm doubting reality now, but that's the way I remember it in my head. And folks, I watched the episode 5 hours ago-ish, so I mean, it's fairly fresh in my mind. But again, it was such a like little thing, and that's how I was like, did you just say Bucky? And then the episode was ending, and I was like, what's the credit scene? What's the credit scene? I read there was one. And that interests me.
It was John Walker making his own cool shield.
Building his own Iron Man suit of armor.
If he builds the best shield, he wins $10,000.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Fuck these Medal of Honors.
Did anything else of note happen in this episode? We got Zemo, we got Sharon, we got Sam and Buck. Ben's dissatisfied. Vaguely dissatisfied.
Batroc came back.
I did like it them hinting at Batroc over the phone just by having him speak in French.
Well, I knew exactly.
Same thing.
As that happened, I'm like, that's Batroc.
I was immediately like, ooh,
George St. Pierre's voice.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's cool. Batroc is back.
Yeah, that was a cool way of like hinting at who he is without blowing it like really quickly. I don't know if there's anything left, man.
Yeah, I do like that.
Excuse me.
Sam's nephews are looking up to him. Just the contrast of like. Now I know, like you said, like some story elements. We could have had a little more with Sam. I definitely agree on that. I just think it is cool from what we got, like him training and everything. Not him doing all the flips and shit like that. I thought that was really cool. Of like him being like, well, I got to be more agile. I have to be more aerodynamic. With how I'm throwing the shield now. I have to now integrate certain styles with, like, having Steve's style without being Steve and have his own.
We talked about it a little last week of people being like, how's he going to use the shield if he has wings?
And I said last week, I think it would be like, that would be really cool.
This is him figuring that out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, shit, man. You saw all that. Imagine him having the fucking wings and throwing the shield and, like, coming back and catching the shield and shit, man. That was fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, shit, I can't wait to see him with the wings and throwing the shield. I think that's gonna, visually, I mean, you said it, like, a few episodes ago about, I think the first episode, about, like, visually seeing the Falcon in action as opposed to seeing him in the comic book.
Yeah.
As he's just, have his wings spread out and, like, kicking in one image in the comic book as opposed to like him going through that whole awesome action sequence at the beginning. And hopefully when this comes down to the finale, we see him as Cap with the wings, with the shield, throwing, catching, going against the Flag Smashers, just doing a lot of dope shit, hopefully in some dope vibranium outfit with the vibranium fucking shield. Yeah, the Captain have a vibranium outfit with the vibranium shield. Now Sam has a vibranium outfit with the vibranium shield.
I mean, Sam's not as good as taking punches as Steve.
No, he's not. He doesn't have the serum, of course.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool that, like, he has a basic upgrade, Now he's got a vibranium shield like Panther has. Now he has Cap shield. And I didn't even notice this until now, that, like, a lot of times they show T'Challa and Cap together. They have like a bond going on, with like Civil War, with Infinity War, with Endgame, with T'Challa being the first one to walk out there.
Well, there was respect between the two of them.
There was mad respect.
Yeah.
That's why Infinity War, at the end of Civil War, he's the one that helped rescue Bucky T'Challa. You know, in Infinity War, they needed help. He went to T'Challa. You know, shook his hand. He's like, you know, even Cap's like, you know, feel like I'm thanking you for, you know, a lot of stuff lately, you know, so they have that mutual respect for each other, you know. Whenever they're starting to invade, like Thanos' army, they look right at each other and get this man a shield, you know, stuff like that. You know, them, like, just, you know, a lot, it seems like a lot of people don't realize the scenes that they share together, the Russos distinctly focus on them too.
Yeah.
You know, they really do. With that, you know, just a little thing of like when everybody's charging at Thanos' army, you know, who's the two that's leading the fucking charge? Fucking Cap runs out of nowhere and him and fucking T'Challa are running together, you know, stuff like that. And then now with Sam, Bucky has a vibranium arm. You know, there's another link between Cap and T'Challa. And then now Sam has a vibranium suit and he has Cap's shield. You know, there's another link between T'Challa and Cap. You know, it's just, you know, to me, obviously, you know, Marvel, they don't put together things accidentally. You know, I'm not saying that, like, you know, this whole thing, like, oh, this whole thing gradually, I don't know, maybe it was, I don't know. But I just...
I don't think so.
I just found it, that's why I said I don't know. But
yeah.
I like that gradually there's a link in there between, you know, Cap and T'Challa, even stemming all the way back from Civil War till now with Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah. I just think that's really cool, you know, that they put that together. Like, in my opinion, I like that, you know, that Bucky's the one that is like, hey, you know what? I got one more favor from you, Io. Like, let's do this. That he thought enough about Sam to have them make a new suit for him that's made of vibranium.
I'm wondering, you know? In the comics, it's not typically brought up with the Black Panther terribly often, but in the comics, when the Panther is impacted, his suit absorbs the impact and he can use it to, like, increase his base physical strength, like, through the suit, like an Iron Man kind of armor, or he can release it in, like, energy blasts, which we've seen in the movies. And I don't think we'll see an energy blast, but I'm wondering if maybe the suit will have that same, like, absorb and repower kind of thing, where maybe in the suit Sam will be closer to a super soldier level of, like, physical strength. So
maybe he could throw shit with his wings if that happens.
So he'll be more durable
cool as fuck
and stronger at the same time.
That'd be cool. If, like, his wings gather kinetic energy, he could, like,
sure. Or even when he
like
would do
Sonic,
the, like,
Sonic Boom.
When he would do the, like, shield with the wings, every time they get shot, they would continue to build up a charge. In theory,
that would be cool because he used his wings a lot for.
We saw it in the first episode of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To imagine his wings getting shot, building up kinetic energy.
He didn't
then throwing in freaking, like, Sonic Boom.
He didn't do it nearly enough in his fight with John, and it frustrated the crap out of me.
Yeah,
like that was an intense fight scene, but I won't lie, I don't think it was a very well done fight scene.
No, I think
there were a lot of quick edits, and
there were a lot of quick edits. I think they're trying to
felt chunky.
They're trying to be a little too cinematic with it. Maybe I thought Bucky should have had more of a fight. I know John took the serum, but at the same time, you know, I think Bucky should have handled him a little more. I don't know.
I mean, on the one hand, I definitely agree.
End,
like especially because, like, when we've seen Bucky go up against super soldiers, it's classically been Steve. But as the Winter Soldier, he was never holding back either. And for most of the Winter Soldier movie, he had Steve on the ropes.
Yeah.
So there's a degree of how much was Bucky holding back when he was fighting John? How much was him wanting to hurt this man who tarnished Steve's legacy? Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of character work with Bucky to really establish any of those motives.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, I also understand this isn't a comic book where you could insert 2 pages of Bucky, like, thinking about the situation, and it takes a split second in the comic book world where it takes 10 minutes of film.
Minutes. Yeah.
I get it. That's one of the reasons I love comic books. You can do that kind of thing.
It's like, yeah, exactly. You can think of that shit.
But yeah, again, given that we saw Sam take on, like, 5 dudes in a plane with just his wings, and he did really well against them, I was a little frustrated at how poorly he handled the fight with John. I immediately give them the out of just like, well, they just saw him, like, murder a guy? So, like, they're probably, like, shook.
Yeah.
But, again, I was still, like, the whole time I was
Like,
just
he
like...
did have the serum and everything, but, like... You know, we know John was the type of soldier, you know, and stuff like that. You know, he had a lot of credentials.
I did like Bucky almost immediately went for that gun on John's thigh.
Yeah.
Like, right off the bat, he was like, grabbing for it, and then John, like, knocked him away. I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Bucky's not fucking around.
Yep, exactly. As opposed to Sam and Steve, like, yeah, Bucky's used a lot of guns. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Like I said, that was pretty cool, pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty dope. That's about right.
I think we've covered pretty much everything.
I think we have.
I am a little annoyed that we seem to have ended Zemo's storyline and we still haven't gotten an in-universe explanation for his purple mask.
Yeah, he just put it on one time.
Yeah, he already had it in a car.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
He put it on once so he could kill some dudes.
And that was it.
And then he took it off and hopped in a car and was like, let's go, guys. We're riding out of here.
Yeah, exactly. Apologies.
Yes. Maybe his story's not done. We'll see.
We'll see.
Again, maybe I'm really getting the feeling because that fight scene that I wanted in WandaVision apparently was planned but got cut due to time constraints.
Budgetary and time restraints.
And I'm kind of wondering if there's some stuff in the Falcon and Winter Soldier that was planned for.
It's possible.
That then got axed to get the show out on time or on budget, either or because of COVID even. I don't know. I kind of think we're going to see a bevy of articles and interviews that'll be like, oh, the showrunner said this was supposed to happen, or this was going to happen, or...
Probably more than likely after the finale, the next week, I guess, when Marvel Legends comes out, they're making of, you know? So, yeah, we'll see if it happens between now. All of a sudden, we're going to get all these, you know, all these deleted scenes were supposed to happen. Like with WandaVision, when, like, a few of them were supposed to grab the book, and they were supposed to...
Fight like a demon
bunny. Yeah, exactly. Fight the
Mr.
demon
Scratches?
bunny. Yeah, Mr. Scratches. Yeah.
Mr. Scratch.
So, that was a deleted scene that happened. You know, stuff like that. So, yeah, we'll probably get that same thing.
Yeah.
Especially with only being 6 episodes, I'm sure there's more out there somewhere that happened.
But that's, again, still overall, I'm pretty pleased. Like, given, I do feel like a lot of Sam's character work in this wasn't earned, but it was well demonstrated. Like, Anthony Mackie's acting was incredible.
Yeah, I was still very into this episode.
Again,
I did like it.
His conversation with Isaiah killed me. Him being home with his family was great. I loved that interaction between John and then Lamar's family. Like, again, like I was choking up because they were choking up, and then I was also choking up because John's lying to them, and then I was also choking up because it's a sign that John's probably still a little bit crazy. I was like, this whole scene's terrible for everybody involved. Like, oh, you poor people.
Yeah. Like Lamar's mom talking about how proud Lamar was.
I know!
Yeah, man. When he became Captain America.
He wanted nothing more than for you to be Captain America, and I'm like, you
like,
ruined it!
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, man, you even basically let your boy down, you know? Like, I know he was basically the one that kind of, in a way, pushed him to kind of take the serum, you know, but at the same time.
Well, that's what makes it even more tragic.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, man, Lamar thought this was a good idea.
Yeah, he basically was trying to get approval.
And I would argue from John's perspective, he has to make it a good idea because Lamar died now. There's a degree of he can't not be Captain America because that would mean letting his friend down.
Yeah.
In the same way, Sam, when this started, didn't want to let Steve down and has now reached a place where he's like, it doesn't matter. Steve's gone. It's a matter of whether I'm letting myself down at this point. Like, again, he tells that straight up to Bucky. I want to see a Bucky scene where he goes to, and I feel bad because now I forgot the character's name, the Japanese guy from the first episode.
Yeah, I forgot his name too. Because when Sam was like, you know, pick one person. As soon as, you know, when he was talking about that, I was like, the Asian guy.
Yeah.
That's why he was brought up in the first place.
You need to go back and tell him what happened.
Yeah, he's Bucky's plot device. You know, that they set up at the beginning in the first episode.
I hope that's not a scene that got cut, because at least give me that closure.
I think that we're probably going to get that in the finale, you know. I don't know how. Like, I don't know what Bucky's gonna say to him, but like, that's his amends, pretty much, for what Sam told him to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we'll see that before the season's over.
I hope so.
I think so.
I
think we will. That'd be such an open-ended thing to not bring up, especially since you set it up in this way. So, yeah, I think they will.
I hope so.
We'll see, though. We'll see.
Leifert, in classic fashion, we said we were going to end the episode.
And we keep
and
rolling
then talk for
on.
like another 5 minutes.
No surprise.
It's just what we do.
Exactly, it's what we do.
So this time, let's close it for real.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. We hope you enjoyed this
Appreciate
episode. We hope you enjoyed The Falcon and Winter Soldier so far.
Definitely.
One left.